I'm running 3 burners on the wife's kitchen stove. How you doing? Batch number 47. 47. We're going to go with a beta gluten rest and a protein rest. It's got rice, wheat, and rye in a flake format. This is batch number 47, like I just said. According on my sheet here, it says batch number 47. And we're going to adjust the pH of the water shortly. We just put it in the kettle, and I got to get the rest of the water boiling, the strike water going, and I got to get the grains ground up and stuff. So, yeah, batch number 47. We got the blood orange and stuff. We got a keg. I got the red eye rye. It's close to being done. The mead needs to be transferred. And a runoff, which is a whole nother video. I did a runoff on it, and I'm going to do one on this, too. We'll talk about that later. We'll see how that one comes out. It's quite interesting. I got almost 3 gallons on the runoff the next day. It was the very next day I put in, oh, shoot, it was 190-degree water back into the mash tun, and I drained that off as a sparge, and I got 3 gallons at 10:45. Yeah, 10:45. We're gonna see how that comes out. And I fermented that with it was the what kind of yeast was that again? That was the champagne yeast. 30 minutes has elapsed, so I'm gonna take this up to 130. I'm running 3 burners on the wife's kitchen stove. How you doing? Yeah, that's 3 burners. We're going to get it up to 130 quick. We'll drop the rice and the wheat and the rye back into the water. And the strike water's on right now here. We've got that going up here. We're going to get that up to proper temperature before we mash into the mash tun. Of course, we get her done. It's going to be a good beer. I've made this before. That's a dirty lens there. Yeah, I made this before. Superficial Payday is the name of this one. Okay, Superficial Payday. I'm gonna dough in on the main grain bill here, and then I'll set my wheats back in there. Oh, the smell! We all know what that smells like. Oh, love it, love it, love it. Ah. Let's see where we are. A little hot right now. A little warmer than I want to be. 160, 63, 62. Throw a couple ice cubes in here, maybe. Let's see, 162. Yeah, it's a little hot. I'll give it a couple ice cubes if I got any. Hope I prepared for that day. You don't need a lot, but of course my ice maker's pain in the butt. Big pain in the butt this ice maker is. Maybe we'll make a video of that someday. On how this ice maker makes the freezer plug up, and well, it's an old refrigerator anyway, so they're just going to get a handful of ice here. It's not going to take a lot. Just want to lower the temperature a little bit. That's probably enough there. And stir it up. She drops it quick enough to just want to stir it up, make sure it's on the bottom. Temperature is the same there. It's going to be a long brew this time because of the the beta glucan rest and the protein rest. Took an extra hour. There we go. Right where we want to be, 156. Of course, that bag is still 156, 156.7. I want to be 158, 156. Right on the money. We're good. We're good to go. So 1 hour mash starts now. All right, Superficial Payday. We're starting of our loft here in a pitcher. Oh, man. Oh, it smells good. I want to drink that right now. This mash tun works so good, the false bottom. It's like I still use a funnel with a filter on it to catch some of the particulates. But you really don't have to. I'll run a full volume here for a minute. That'll drip on the floor for me. And I got the bag in there, which has the wheat, the rice, and flaked wheat. Flaked wheat, flaked rice, and flaked rye. So I'm being in a hurry here because speeding up our brew day. I'm trying to anyway. I'll run that full volume again. And then I go get my funnel. This will go right into the boil kettle. Get ready to rock and roll. There's a whole gallon I boil off here. A lot of guys will do it real slow, but I don't have the patience today. That's enough. Like I say, I use a strainer anyway. Nothing really gets into the kettle. Oh, these runnings are really clear as it is. Very, very, very little sediment, if any. So we're good to go there. I only do 2 of those. Like I say, the funnel has the little filter in here. Give that a little rinse. Splatter it all over the camera lens there. And then my little clamp I use. Of course I had it ready, now I seem to misplace it. That'll work. That's probably one of them. Of course the boil kettle. Then we'll start that running slow. I'll put a cover on this. That can go back on the mash tun. And we'll let that drain slowly in there. And we'll be boiling probably in 10-15. Yeah, we collected all our wort in the kettle. Our volume that we needed. And we're starting to boil. She's just coming up to boil now. And we'll get our hops in there. It's going to start with 6 ounces of my 2017 Cascade hops that I grow here myself. So it'll be leaf hops in here. We're putting them in a muslin bag. The wife is sewing one up right now for me. So then the hops will go in here. The hot break's just about to be achieved. All right, I turned the burner down just for a second because I had to walk away and stuff the hop bag. 6 ounces of homegrown Cascade hops in here. And you gotta watch it when you put them in here. I should put marbles in there and let it sink. But otherwise it'll absorb it pretty good there. I push it around with the spoon. So there you go, 6 ounces into the Superficial Payday brew. And she's on, she's a rockin'. Alright, had to come down to the dungeon to get the rest of this for this Superficial Payday brew. My hops and some yeast. The yeast I'll be using here. Of course, I used my own Cascade hops, but I finish it off with a pellet hop, another ounce of pellet hops. Cascade at the end, last 15 minutes, and that's where we are. Last 15 minutes. That's the last 15 minutes on the Superficial Payday. Just threw in a bag of hops. You can see floating in there. 1 ounce of Cascade at the end. That's a pellet hop I used to boost mine because it's a 2017 leaf hop. It's 6 ounces of that. So she goes good, and we're going for flame out here in about 10 minutes. So once flame out, we'll get the wort chiller in there. We got that sanitized like always over here. in my my Star Sands and whatnot. So be using oh, I forget the Cephale Ceph Brew WBO6. This will be the third time I'm using that yeast. So chiller's in. I like to take a bag like this and just cover it up there to keep any unexpected flies or dust, or go to extremes here sometimes. But when we do that, we get our gauge, sanitize the living crap out of that. And the water here in the city, Buffalo, pretty cold, so set a timer, see how long it takes for this to cool down. Anybody? My helper? Of course, this, I hate these stupid things. Wort chiller is in. You don't want the false reading of touching the side of the wort chiller. But I'm already down to 160. This goes quick here. And I finished sanitizing my wand, my cover, my scissors. The last of the sanitizer that ends up in the fermenting bucket here gets shaken up with the cover on, of course, at the edges and stuff. Make sure we get that all perfect. So it was 80 degrees, 7 minutes to get down to 80. And I'm gonna start draining it and pitching the yeast shortly. And there we go, off with the transfer. I picked up a little trub off the bottom, that's alright. Not a problem. Trub. A little trub, not trub. Alright. Wort chiller's still on slowly. I'm making sure the valve's closed and we're not leaking all over the floor. All the wort out of this kettle here. Very little trub on the bottom tube. That's it, the pump shut off, so I'm done. It aerated itself a little bit. Not a lot. I'll check my volume mark here, which looks like I'm right on 5 gallons, like I should be. Yeah, looks like we're right on the money. Okay, a little Fermaid K. I haven't used it in a couple batches, but I'll sprinkle it a little on top. That's enough. I don't do a lot of measurements that precise until different times. Sanitize the yeast pack. Squeeze it open, cut it open, spill it all over the counter. Lose about 1 billion cells. Sprinkle the yeast in there. I'm sure there's 1 billion enough left. This is kind of a bubbler over there. Yeast is in. Cover's on. Airlock. Some people call them bubblers there, because they bubble. Bubbly, bubbly, bubbly. It's an airlock. And that's it.
2 o'clock exactly.
Besides the mess.
5 hours from start to finish.
5 hours start to finish on this brew because of the beta glucan rest and a half-hour beta glucan and a half-hour protein on the wheat, the rice, and the rye, flaked rye. Unexpected payday runoff on a sample taste test. Oh, I'm glad I heard a little carbonation, but I don't think it's going to be that good. I don't think it's done enough, but oh, it's hard to hold this camera and then pour a beer in here. But I'm not sure she's carbonated enough. This is the one with the candy sugar. Yeah, I don't think she's carbonated enough. That's a disappointment. Must have got the candy sugars wrong on that. Looks a little flat.
Yeah, that's flat.
Oh, good tasting beer, but we're going to have to let it, 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 let have to let it mature. 16 days. It should have been carbonated by now. It should have been well carbonated. But I did it in the 3-gallon carboy, and I didn't stir it to stir up the mess. So she's probably got a long way to go here then. Wow. Otherwise, it has definitely tastes of burnt raspberry in it. Wow. So far, it's tasty, but it's a fail on the carbonation. We're going to fix that problem. We got one of those instant carb caps. I'm going to go out right here. We're going to put it on a couple bottles, and I'm going to shake it up and carb it now. Since it's cold, I'm not going to let it go to waste. I want to taste it when it's carved, so we're going to instant carb it. Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? Proust!